Has Australia reached peak inflation? Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee. Let's look at this article from Reuters on Yahoo Finance. Australian inflation is likely near a peak, but there's plenty of risks according to the RBA. Let's jump over to the other screen. Have a look here. We can see the CPI according to the RBA, and we're sitting at 7.3%. Now, if we scroll back in time, the last time we had 7.3 was, what's this? In the 80s, probably. We went September 87. We went from 8.2%. Then the next month or next quarter, we went down to 7.1. So we haven't seen inflation like this since the 80s. That's a really long time. I was, 87? I was 6 years old then, guys. There you go. So, and now I'm a virtual boomer with how old I've become. So there you go. Look at that. There'll be no memory of inflation in a huge portion of the workforce. Oh boy. So, there's good reason to believe that inflation in Australia is near a peak for this cycle, a top central banker said on Wednesday, while also warning of plenty of risks to the upside, including energy prices, rents, and geopolitics. In a speech on the economic outlook, RBA Deputy Governor Michelle Bullock reiterated that further increases in interest rates would be needed to ensure inflation receded from the 32-year peaks around 8%. Oh, isn't that awesome? The central bank lifted its cash rate by a quarter point last week to a 9-year peak of 2.85%, bringing the tightening since May to a historically aggressive 275 basis points. The cash rate, I'll bring it up here, you can quite clearly see that huge drive up. Does this chart go back to the 90s? No, it just goes back to 1990, so we don't see that last, we see how rates have crashed down, guys. So considering interest rates or in CPI is close to what we had in the 80s on the trail down here, are we going to see rates go up to a similar level? Interest rates are going to hit 18%? What would that do to mortgages, guys? So, it is expected that further increases to interest rates will be required, she said. The size and timing of future increases, however, will depend on the data. Bullock was hopeful that higher borrowing costs and a slowing world economy would eventually do the trick. There are good reasons to think that we are approaching the peak of this inflation cycle, she said, pointing to a loosening in global supply chains and lower oil prices. Shipping costs are indeed coming down. Other expenses are coming down. So even if CPI creeps back down, are they going to claim any credit for it when it really had nothing to do with them? But, markets are currently leaning towards another quarter rate hike in December, but imply a 30% chance the RBA may actually choose to pause. Bullock cited a laundry list of uncertainties ahead, including the chance of a further global shocks, the economic slowdown in China, and how consumers at home would react to higher rates and falling house prices. On inflation, a key concern was the outlook for electricity prices, which were rising far faster than expected just a few months ago as supply pressures squeezed the market. Bullock said on current estimates, the planned increases in retail electricity prices would add 1 percentage point to consumer price inflation in the year to September 2023, and another 0.5 point over 24. Such is the public outcry that the Australian government is considering measures such as capping prices for power and levelling a windfall tax on producers. Oh, shit. You can't. Prices in the energy market are a signal. When you start to interfere in the market, you screw with the signals. And, they're interfering in it all the time, and it isn't really even a free market, so... Bullock said rents were also, and the problem is even if you got solar and go, snotty, it's not going to affect me. This means energy price increases means a cost of living increase for all of us. Everything that's manufactured, transported, stored in a building here in Australia is going to get more expensive. Everything. Bullock said rents were also picking up quickly as vacancy rates hit record lows in some cities and would feed through to inflation over several quarters. Recent wage deals had shown an acceleration after years of subpar growth, though pay deals overall were still consistent with the RBA's long-term inflation target of 2 to 3%. One risk was that high inflation would lead workers to demand bigger wage deals and that employers would accede in the belief they could pass the cost on through higher prices. How this inflation psychology plays out is critical for the inflation outlook and for monetary policy, said Bullock. If this mindset were to take hold, inflation will remain high and then we'll wind up in a mess. So let's have a talk about that. So it seems that they're saying we're at the peak, except for this variable, this variable, this variable, this variable, this is all of these things beyond our control. Awesome. Awesome. What do you reckon? Do you think we'll see a higher CPI and then will they continue to drive up the cash rate? If it gets much higher, I mean, we're starting to see people now hit the 3% buffer. Distressed sales are slowly starting to appear and creep up a little bit. If we start seeing double-digit interest rates for home loan repayments, 10%, they're getting up to 7% for some mortgages. You might actually earn money on your savings in the bank. One to watch, guys. As always, thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Check out my other channels, HeiseBim and HeiseSays International, for other topics I discuss. If you're a fan and want to support us, you can financially on YouTube or Patreon. Use our referral links via Pocket Squares or call us if you need an architect. Take care, guys. Have a great day. And I'll see you in the next episode of HeiseSays. Bye for now. Why does that video stop playing? There we go. Nope. What? Brilliant operation I'm running here, guys. There we go. It's working again. I don't know what's going on. I'll see you next time, everyone. Bye for now.